So here are a couple more dry ice demonstrations that we forgot to add to the last video. Of course, one thing that's kind of fun to do with dry ice, and I've got some dry ice chunks in this pan here that I busted up with a hammer, a little bit more there, is just blowing on it and talking about the cloud we're making. The dry ice, as it warms up and sublimes or sublimates and turns into gas, when I blow on it, the cold carbon dioxide gas mixes with my breath, which has a lot of water vapor in it, and cools down my breath, that water vapor, and condenses it into little tiny droplets of liquid water, and that's what a cloud is, and that's why we can see it. We can't see water vapor's all around us, but when it cools and condenses into droplets of liquid water, we can see it. And of course, when those tiny little droplets, they're small enough to float around in air currents, but they're very tiny, and so they evaporate quickly, and that's why our cloud disappears. The water droplets turn back to water vapor. All right, one of the fun things we like to do is to make giant bubbles. And for that, what I'm going to do is put a little warm water, no soap in here, this is just warm water. I'm going to add a little bit of dry ice. I don't want it to bubble too quickly for this one, so we're just going to get some fog going in our bowl here. And then this is a bowl of water with dish soap in it. And what I'm going to do is get my hand nice and soapy. And then I'm going to take my wet soapy fingers and just stretch them across the top of the bowl, and they form a soap film, just like in our earlier video we did with the funnel. And as the gas builds up inside, it's going to inflate our soap film and blow a nice crystal ball. And as I showed in that last video, if my finger's wet and soapy, I could put my finger right into our crystal ball here, take it out without popping. I could put a straw in there and blow it around. I don't know how well you're going to see this in the video, but you can really see the fog swirling around inside, so it makes a really cool Halloween crystal ball. And of course, when it does pop, and I'm going to pop it with my dry finger, then we get all that fog. Now, if you have big hands, I'm going to try pouring water in here, pour a little more water in there, add a little more dry ice. See if my hand's big enough to run across the top of this. Now, you want your bowl to have a smooth top. If there are any sharp points or plastic from the food container or anything like that, you may have some trouble with this. So you want to make sure it's a nice smooth edge on that bowl. And let's see if I can get my hand across this. Yeah, we're going to get a good one. So we're going to get a nice crystal ball out of this one. Now another trick, which I'll show you as soon as this bubble pops, you can also, dry ice is is so good for doing science, because we can talk about so many different things, phase changes and sublimation. Of course, with the cloud, we're talking about condensation and evaporation as well. We can talk about gas pressure building up, it blows the bubble. We can talk about the soap and how the soap film forms the bubble. So there's an awful lot of science here. One of the things that I'm going to go ahead and pop that. If your hand isn't big enough to stretch across there, here's another little trick. You can take a cloth or a paper towel, soak it in the soap and water, and try and run that across the top. You can tell I'm not quite as good as this is doing with my bare hand. Try here. This may not be the best towel to do this. There we go. Yep, I do have it. There just isn't very much dry ice left. We got the film on there, and it's going to slowly blow up. We'll put that there. Now, of course, for little kids, you might want to choose a small, let's get that out of the way, a smaller cup so that they can do this with their hands. Little piece of dry ice in there. another thing that we often do while we're waiting for these bubbles to pop. Oh, I was gonna say, you can also talk about the colors, the refraction and dispersion of light are what create the rainbow colors. I'm gonna go into a lot of that now, but you can look that up, and I'm sure we'll do a video at some point that talks more about that. The colored bands you see actually are indicating differences in thickness, as the soap film is actually made of, the skin is made of a sandwich of 2 layers of soap with water in between, and as gravity pulls that down, it gets thicker at the bottom, and these bands are actually showing you the thickness change. Let's see, we were going to make what I call brains. This is another fun one. Put some water in here, throw in some dry ice. And this time, we are going to put some soap in there. We're just going to put some of this soapy water in there. And what we want to do is we want to actually blow lots of soap bubbles. And as they make their way out of there, I think it just looks like little drains. And of course, every little bubble is filled with fog. So you can pop them one at a time. And lots of fog around. Sometimes we even do this with helium from a tank, put the tube and let it bubble into there, and we actually get bubbles that'll float away. We can even do it with hydrogen sometimes, and actually light them and explode them. All stuff for another video. But anyway, we hope you have more fun with all these activities at Halloween. And check out our activity page with more descriptions of the science and the procedures to do all these activities.